Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Manzoor Ahmed, lecturer history. Our today's question for 12th class students of history subject is: in what ways the livelihood or the lives of Pahariyas, also known as Paharis, was different from the life of Santals? Dear students, in this question we have to explain the difference between the life of Pahariyas and the life of Santals. As you know, in previous lectures we talked about the lives of life of both Paharis and Santhals in previous lectures. Today we have to know the difference in the life pattern of both these groups, that is Pahariyas and Santhals. Let's try to know the differences in their life. Number one, the Pahariyas, also known as Paharis, lived a nomadic life in and around Rajmahal Hills. No doubt these Pahariyas permanently lived in the Rajmahal Hills and around Rajmahal Hills, but within the Rajmahal Hills, these Pahariyas continuously migrated from one place to another place and did not live at one place in the Rajmahal Hills. That's why we say that they lived a nomadic life in the Rajmahal Hills. On the other hand, the Santhals lived a settled life around the Rajmahal Hills, especially in the Damani Koh area, and they were mostly peasants and lived a settled life in the Damani Koh area of Rajmahal Hills. Number two, the Pahariyas were mainly lived on in forests in the of Rajmahal Hills, mainly on the forest produce, means the production made out of the forests, and they also lived on shifting cultivation. Shifting cultivation means that these Pahariyas in the Rajmahal Hills used to clear a patch of land, a patch of forests in the Rajmahal Hills, and cultivate some forest crops in that patch of land. And after several years, they would abandon that patch of land to regain fertility and clear another patch of forest land in the Rajmahal Hills for the cultivation of forest crops. This is what we call shifting cultivation. So these Pahariyas mainly lived on the forest produce, means the production, various things produced in forests, and on the shifting cultivation. On the other hand, the Santhals also cleared forests around in the Damani Koh area around Rajmahal Hills, and they also cut down trees. But they did agricultural operations. They plowed their lands and did carried out agricultural activities, cultivated various crops in these lands, and did not do any kind of shifting cultivation or anything, but rather the Santhals continuously used to carry out agricultural activities in their lands in the Damani Koh area. Number three, the Pahariyas mainly used to grow some variety of forest pulses, millets. They used to collect a kind of flower known as mawa in forests for their food. They used to rear silkworms and collect silk cocoons for sale. They collected wood for charcoal production. So these are main life activities of the Pahariyas in the Rajmahal Hills. On the other hand, the Santhals were mostly agriculturists. They were mostly peasants carrying out agricultural activities in the Damani Koh area. They cultivated various crops in their agricultural lands. They cultivated food grains, they cultivated cotton, and they cultivated several commercial crops for the purpose of market as well. They had continuous contacts with the traders outside their region to sell their commercial crops to the traders outside the region. And on the other hand, the Pahariyas mainly produce whatever they mainly produce that for their own personal consumption, and hardly there's very little quantity of their production, forest production, which they could use for sale to the people outside the Rajmahal Hills. Number next, these Pahariyas mainly hunted wild animals for their food in the Rajmahal Hills. On the other hand, the Santhals did not hunt animals, as they performed enough agricultural activities with the help of which they got fruit grains, and fruit grains were able, with the help of these fruit grains, they were able to eat their food and meet the needs of their survival in their life. And they had not any necessity rather to hunt wild animals in the forests. Number next, the Pahariyas looked upon outsiders with suspicion, and they did not want to talk to them. They did not tolerate them. They wanted to have no connection with outsiders and hated all outsiders. On the other hand, the Santhals continuously and frequently negotiated with the traders, moneylenders, and other officers who came from outside areas to their areas and had continuous relations, economic and commercial relations with the moneylenders, traders, and officers who came from outside areas to the Damaniko area of Santals. Number next, the Paharias did not want to pay any kind of revenue or tax to any outside agency, to any British officer or to any other officer who would come to their area. On the other hand, the Santals expanded cultivation, brought more and more agricultural land under cultivation, and increased the flow of revenue to the British East India Company. As a result, the Santals for some time had a very good relations with the British East India Company, as they used to yield a good flow of revenue to the company. And on the other hand, the Paharias were totally against the Britishers. As a result, the Santals pushed them inside the forest areas of the Pahari, inside Rajmahal Hills, in the interior of the Rajmahal Hills, where they faced a number of problems. So Santals were supported actually by the government, and Paharias were totally not supported by the government. The Santals were supported by the government to suppress the Paharias and force them to retreat to the internal areas of the Rajmahal Hills and face difficult life there. Thank you.